Welcome. I'm Christina Ivazes with Placer County Public Health. This presentation is for parents and teachers to support you with the information to talk to your elementary and middle school students about why the recommended daily uninterrupted hours of sleep are important, with some tips on how to improve sleep hygiene habits. Although the fun superhero theme is geared towards younger children, this is information that can be applied to all ages. First, I'll discuss the 5 G's of good sleep hygiene, and then the 7 strategies to fuel your sleep superpower. At the end, there are questions you can ask your student to reinforce the discussion and engage them in how they can participate to improve their own sleep hygiene. And finally, I have 2-sided rack cards in English, Spanish, and Russian, posters in English and Spanish, and English and Spanish PowerPoints with notes I can share upon request. These are for you to provide the resources that fit your needs best. Before the pandemic, teens were already experiencing disrupted sleep and lack of sufficient sleep for a variety of reasons. That included academic loads, electronic devices in bed, and then during the pandemic, as our world turned upside down, elementary students also began getting less solid sleep due to many factors, from lack of a schedule, stopping sports, electronics at night. You all know what I'm talking about. Today, healthcare professionals across the country are sounding the alarm that not getting enough uninterrupted sleep is the #1 factor affecting youth mental health and risk for substance use. The first G is grow. For growing children and teens, growth hormones are released during sleep. Young children want to get taller. This can be the best motivation for younger children to appreciate a nice long night's sleep. The second G is group. While we sleep uninterrupted, our brain organizes what we learned and experienced that day into categories, like a filing system for easier recall in the future. This may be the most important reason experts say you can't make up your lack of sleep later on, because each day's new experiences need their own dedicated time to be organized and filed away. Without this time, what we learn and experience can become like a giant unorganized and labeled storage unit full of important items that you can't find when you need them. Third G here is garbage. Waste products are removed from the brain while you sleep. Yet another critical reason why children, adolescents, and us adults need sufficient sleep and optimum sleep. We know that dementia and Alzheimer's is impacted by lack of sleep. So when the brain is rested and has filed important information and memories away, it can then take the trash off like a garbage truck, leaving clean pathways for quick thinking to occur. Germ fighters. A healthy sleep hygiene routine supports a strong immune system. We learned again how important a strong immune system is during the pandemic. When we don't get the recommended hours of solid sleep, even for just a few days, we can become run down and more vulnerable to any kind of germs in our environment. Finally, the final G, glad. Sleep affects mood and mental health. This is most notable and important during adolescence. Hormones are regulated during solid sleep hours. In contrast, disrupted and inadequate sleep can cause chemical imbalances in the brain, affecting many critical responses necessary for mental wellness and physical health. The 7 ways to fuel your sleep superpower. These basic practices are effective, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's important to look at, they may seem simple, and they are, but many of these practices have eroded over the past several decades as our society changes. Yet our bodies and minds still need them. And it's when we don't have this strong daily foundation, we can see the negative physical, mental, and behavioral impacts, which also impact our ability to sleep well. Knowing their importance can help us prioritize them over other choices, which may be interfering with healthy sleep routines in our homes. I also think it's important to keep this in mind, that children, teens, and young adults today may not even know what a healthy, undisrupted sleep routine is like. When older adults like myself were growing up, we didn't have the distractions we have today. We got enough undisrupted sleep as a rule. And it's no coincidence we're seeing the impacts of these changes and lack of sleep in the mental health of our young youth and young adults. Natural light and exercise are both critical needs we all have to release the needed serotonin for healthy sleep, along with the activities our bodies need for overall health, solid sleep, and releasing stress, not to mention vitamin D, which is necessary for a host of health needs. Without enough movement and natural light, we can see the negative impacts like insomnia, depression, or other mood disorders, concentration, and behavior problems in children. Getting creative about exercise during inclement weather may be necessary. What about a jumping jack, push-up, or dance contest during rainy days or heat waves? Since our brains have so much to do during sleep that we just talked about, heavy meals close to bedtime can interfere with these processes. Earlier meal times are recommended, and if unavoidable, a light or low sugar snack like a glass of milk, some avocado, or apple slices may be better. We know how sugar and caffeine can impact child behavior. This is no different for adolescents or adults. Avoiding these choices, especially in the evening, can be helpful. A small treat after dinner, well before bedtime, may not be a problem. However, we know now that diets high in sugar and refined carbohydrates and caffeine not only interfere with healthy sleep, but also our mental health. Interestingly, a child or teen wanting or increasing sugar or caffeine intake may be an early clue that they aren't sleeping well enough, which is a good time to intervene. The light from electronic devices signals to the brain it is time to be awake. Yes, this is the most difficult practice, especially for us adults. I get it. Using the blue light nighttime function for your phones at night can help if you're experiencing insomnia, but not recommended for kids or teens once bedtime has come. Even before the pandemic, teens were suffering from the impacts of sleep deprivation if they had their phones in bed at night with notifications on, or they were using other electronics at night like playing video games. We now know this is not good for mental health, and having a clear shut-off time for all online activity is recommended, however difficult. Kids will adjust though, and so will teens. Many parents have found shutting off online access and putting phones in a common area outside the bedroom is a healthy way to encourage good sleep hygiene and positive outcomes, especially when it comes to mood. Instead of electronics, reading books or having conversations before bed can help children and adolescents release some of the racing thoughts that may interfere with their ability to wind down before falling asleep. Cooler temperatures improve sleep, along with a dark, quiet place. Having any sounds that may disrupt deep sleep are best avoided. If you use any music or audio recordings before bed to help with sleep, ensure they have a shut-off time early enough. Decibels matter. Even dropping the household volume a bit can prevent sleep disruption. Sometimes normal household sounds are actually helpful and comforting for kids when they go to sleep, as long as they aren't too loud. Of course, in some crowded households, this can be challenging, and maybe even earplugs can help. Just like infants and toddlers, an evening routine makes a huge difference for all ages. New research suggests one of the best ways to ensure we're getting more sleep, this goes for adults also, is to get in bed earlier every night. This may involve creating a new routine or avoiding early evening commitments that can interfere, except maybe on weekends, of course. Carving out that extra time by starting the evening routine sooner can help to ensure children and teens have time in bed for story time or to talk and decompress without rushing. Because we know after school or at dinner, they may not have anything to say, but at bedtime, the floodgates can open. A lot of children and teens today have already learned breathing exercises at school or at home. Ask them which ones they know and what are their favorites. Some nights, thoughts are racing so much that allowing the practice of breathing for a few minutes to slow down and be totally present can be all that it takes to fall asleep. Of course, decompression through conversation again, or in the later teen years, even writing thoughts down in a journal can be really helpful along with breathing exercises when needed. No one can sleep when they're stressed. By the way, exhaling quickly more than once right after each breath with each other can lead to hyperventilation and won't produce relaxation, only dizziness. The relaxation response occurs when the exhalation is slower and longer. You can make it a contest for kids to see how many seconds they can take to exhale. Another breathing exercise for those super stressful times is to take a super deep breath, hold it, and then squeeze every part of your body while you're still holding your breath for as long as you can. Then let it out and feel yourself melting into your pillow and mattress as you release the pent-up stress from your body. Do this 2 times in a row for the best effect. The following questions can be a review for students to engage with the concepts and empower them to co-own their role in good sleep hygiene. The final question can help adults better support their sleep hygiene practice, follow up in a few weeks with children to find out how they're doing, and troubleshoot solutions if needed. Finally, avoid turning your family upside down again in the name of sleep hygiene. Maybe look for 1 or 2 helpful changes now and make others over time where needed. We're all doing our best, and little bits at a time, little changes can make it easier for everybody. Thank you so much, and good luck.